Alright, so this morning I'm back up in Shuri again. I'm having lunch with my Japanese sensei, and so before that I thought we could do something that I've never done before but I've wanted to do, and that's to go into the Tama Udun, the mausoleum near Shuri Castle. So I just parked the bike. I bought the bike up here because I had some books and stuff to bring as well, and we're just walking down to where we can go into the mausoleum. You know, there's so much you can do in Shuri. Like, of course there's the Shuri Castle and the ponds and all the park and gardens around it, but then also in the sort of wider circle of Shuri, you've got the Zuisen distillery, you've got Sakiyama Park with the other karate monument up there, you've got the, is it called Ryusen, where you can go and do the coral dyeing and see the traditional material place. And then there's the Tama Udun, the mausoleum. Maybe on the way back from here on the bike, we can just quickly drive up to the Sakiyama Park, and I'll show you the karate monument up there. That would be a nice thing to add into the day, I think. It covers another one off my list as well. Right, so I'm at the crossroads here, where if you just head straight up there, you'll get to the Shureinomon, and apparently if we head down here, we're going to get to the mausoleum. Before that, let's have a look at what this is here, and it says it's the remains of the Tenkaiji Temple. You can kind of see through the trees and the grass and forest there, a bit of the mausoleum, but it looks really cool. You know, it's said that Nakazune Sensei taught us that apparently Ankoi Tosu actually lived on a little road just off down over there, right before he died, when he was kind of poor, apparently. It's very interesting. So here we are at the Tama Udun. It's designated as a National Historic Site on May the 15th, 1972. The Tama Udun was built in 1501 to re-entomb the remains of Father King Sho-en by King Sho-shin, and has become the royal mausoleum of the second Sho dynasty. The tomb consists of 3 rooms. The center room was for placing remains before washing the bones. The east room was originally for the kings and queens, and the west room, according to the inscription on the stone monument in the front court, was for the rest of the family members. The entire tomb displays an architectural style of the royal palace of that time, a stone building with a wooden roof. Right, so let's go in here and have a look. Right, so you can see on the sign here that to go in here you have to pay 300 yen for an adult. I think they mean adult, but you know, that's cool. So I got my ticket just over there, really lovely ladies, and I've just come back. You can see here that it is designated as a World Heritage Site, another one, and we head in up and over there's an exhibition room, but we can do that on the way back maybe. And yeah, let's go in and have a look. So I've got the ticket and a information book about it, which is really helpful. They've got it in English and Japanese. It reminds me quite a lot of the Shikina Gardens initially. We should head up there as well, actually, now we're talking about that. Not today though. Right, so we just got to a information point, and it says Kyuyo, an Okinawan history book, says the gatehouses were built for the first time in 1748. On both sides of the gate, located right outside the Tama Udon mausoleum, 2 men were appointed as guards. According to 1901 record, both gatehouses anteroom for close relatives and monks when the funeral of Shotai, the last king of the Ryukyu, took place. It is told that the West Gatehouse was mainly used as a woman's anteroom during the Buddhist memorial services. A guard was selected from a distinguished family to live and look after the West Gatehouse until the beginning of the Pacific War. The guard managed the premises and served his role as superintendent by making use of cleaning men. Based upon recollection of the period and the layout at the lower left was drafted by the person who had lived there. However, remains of the West Gatehouse could not be found during this research. But it's very interesting. Do not approach during an earthquake. Well, I don't know who would approach the mausoleum during an earthquake. So it's a spectacular view through these like meter thick walls. They are very, very heavily guarded and built there, and we come out into this really big open space here, the first one, and I think we just read that this would be where the king's body was before cleaning the bones. It's huge, and then we can go right through and you can see that there's all the hackers up there, and the amount of rock and how heavily built it is insane. Wow. It's really quite something, isn't it? So I wondered whether over here this is the well that they were talking about. And here's one of those, which is fine. I'll just have to read it later. So I think that was the well. And then if we carry up here, it looks like that one was opened recently. This one up there. There's not really much keeping that door closed, is there? It'd be way cool to see what's inside these. And all of these stones are decorated as well. So it's very interesting. So the actual walls, you can see, are built in a very, very traditional manner that we saw in the castle. But some of the mausoleum definitely looked like it had been sort of rebuilt or built in a more modern style. Now, I'm 5'5" and I can just about make it through this door. So it's not made for short people. Let's go have a look at the little house over here and see what this is. There's another information board here as well. So this one is the East Gatehouse. The East Gatehouse was used as an anteroom for the Ryukyu king during Buddhist sermons. However, just before the Pacific War began, it appears that the gatehouse was used as a storeroom, which held the king's coffin and other materials, since it covered an area of only 3.6 meters by 3.6 meters. After excavation research was conducted in the year 2000, cornerstones which supported pillars and a stone pavement were built to encompass the gatehouse, and ruins of a lavatory were found in the area that extends approximately 18 meters east-west and 12 meters north-south. Furthermore, tiles, nails, fragments of Chinese celadon and Tsuboya pottery were also found. Surprisingly, it was realized that the draft displaying room allocation of the West Gatehouse coincided with the exact location of the counterpart's pillars when the draft was inverted. Accordingly, the East Gatehouse was rebuilt upon analysis of remains and pictures. When it was rebuilt, the remains were protected by materials such as sand, raising its level approximately 45 centimeters higher than the original surface. That's quite cool, isn't it? Doesn't really look the same at all. It looks like a straw-made hut on the other one, and this one's kind of beautifully built. Wow. There's some really old pictures here. It's kind of cool. It's like they're gonna hit you with their bows. It's one of the king's clans, the guy on the right. The guy on the left is the one that managed the Tama Udun. And we've got an old traditional picture of it here. And so this is a picture of a marine that is about to search the Tama Udun. So I guess they would have opened all of the graves up. This is how Shuri would have looked from the Tama Udun. So there's really not much there, is it? It's very open and definitely not as heavily populated as it is today. This is the gatehouses in the Tama Udun after the war. Right, so that's pretty much all there is to see outside. So we'll go have a look at the exhibition room, where we got the tickets from, and then I guess time to go. So I think you could give yourself sort of like half an hour to an hour to explore and have a look here. So it's not something that'll take a really long time, but it is something you should probably add in if you can. Some pictures of Okinawa in 1977. So quiet. So it says that Tama Udun is a remarkable mausoleum housing the remains of 19 Ryukyu kings who ruled between 1470 and 1879 and other royal family members. It was built in 1501 by Shoshin, third king of the second Sho dynasty, to enshrine the remains of his father, King Sho-en. Tama Udun was intended to embody the king's sovereignty over the Ryukyu Islands and represent the power of the royal government. The mausoleum has 3 crypts that began as natural caves below a limestone cliff, but were gradually expanded by digging into the bedrock. The eastern crypt was intended for the remains of kings and queens, whilst the western crypt was for the other family members. The center crypt was for the temporary interment of the deceased prior to the ritual purification of their bones. Tama Udun suffered a direct hit from American naval shelling during the Battle of Okinawa in 1945, causing considerable damages, particularly to the eastern crypt. 3 years of careful restoration was completed in 1977. Well, that makes a lot of sense as to why they had different kinds of the building styles, right? This is interesting. It must have been how they found it inside the haka. They must have seen it like this. See the portrait of King Shoshin here. The whole exhibition room has got pictures. Tama Udun before World War II. It's very, very interesting how you you can see that that it's really not how it is anymore. It's nowhere near as beautiful or as nicely structured now. Look how they made it come to be. It's quite spectacular, really, isn't it? How it evolved. So they have a model of the Tama Udun, and they've also got inside there. It's pretty cool. You can see the outside model of what you would see when we went there, and then you can also see how inside the hakas would have been organized. That's crazy. You see which ones had kind of the lids on and which ones were broken. The light is not great, but wow, look at that. I wonder who number 37 is. There's a list up there, I guess. It's pretty cool. You can see here how they found the hackers. This is not the hackers. How they found the remains, like of the kings and the royal people. This is the center crypt, so that must be the king's one. So they've got pictures of the shisas that were up on the top of the mausoleum, and then if we spin around over to here, you can see that they've got some more history about the king and about the ceremonies. I guess this might have been a funeral, maybe. And then on this side, you've got who everybody is and pictures of their haka. So you can look up at that one up there. That's the 18th king, Shōiku. Next to it, you've got the eldest son of King Shoboku, the 15th king, Shōon, 19th king, Shōtai, King Shōko, Shōten, Shōboku. Shōtei had a nice one. Look at that. King Shōtei. The princess of King Shōsitsu. The concubine of the King Shōho. The 8th king, King Shōho. The princess of the King Shōgen. This is Gesei, the eldest daughter of King Shōen. This one is unknown. This one is the 5th king, Shōgen. The princess of the King Shōei. The princess of the King Shōsei. Shōshitsu we already saw. That's Shōgen, Shōkyo, Shōei. This is Shōshin and Shōsei in this one. And that's the first king, which is Shōen. That's crazy. So that must have been like a king right after, maybe the first one or something. So the funerary urns, which settled in a grave room, are 70 in total. They display 27 on this panel. The style changed in the passage of time, obviously. In addition to the funerary urn, the first person died in 1476. Most are made of limestone, and then earthenware as time goes on. Okay, so then over here they've got some of the traditional things that they would have found, and Some of the hackers here. Wow, look at that one. It's incredible. And then right here they've got some urns and how they would have been and how they've changed over time. It's quite the nikirigame, that one, isn't it? Wow, that's pretty cool, the way they've pieced this one back together. And this one too, for that matter. Look at that. Alright, so it's pretty much all of the exhibition room in here. Lots of really, really interesting stuff to see. So if you get the chance, definitely take some time and come and visit here. They have an elevator that you can use if you need to, but they prefer you to use the stairs. There's not many of them, so. Well, that was a good hour spent, wasn't it? Let's head back to get the bike. And on the way we can stop at the Sakiyama Park and have a quick look at the really old shisa that's there, and the karate monument is up there. And this is open from 9 till 6, and final admission is 5:30. No smoking, no pets, no digging, and no food. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Good way to spend an hour or so. Good to learn about the history of it and see all the different kinds of hackers. It's really cool. And then right down the street down there is the material workshop, and there's the new school that they're building, the new high school right there. And if we were just to keep walking straight up this road, it would take us right through the Shuri no Mon and into Shuri Castle. Naturally, the mausoleum couldn't be too far away from it, I guess. So the Tama Udun is actually quite a really big, plot of land, a big space. This is not a way into it, but it very easily could have been, and it might have been back in the olden days. So you can see the starts of the gates and of the tombs over there, and we must be 100 meters, 200 meters away from the Shuri no Mon, which is just right up there in front of us. So it's very interesting also that the right here would have been the temple that we read about at the beginning.